It's Brett here. Someone asked me about the Sidekick Challenge, and so I'm going to give it a whirl. I believe the person was using a standard chair about this high, so this is just a standard folding chair. For Sidekick, now I'm going to show you something about Sidekick. I don't practice Taekwondo, haven't in 30 years, but for a Sidekick, if this is a Sidekick, I'm pushing out like so, the back heel should be pointing in the direction that I want my foot to go. So that's the challenge here. I'm on stone with a sock. So let's see how this works out. I could go inside. I've got probably much better flooring for this. So we're here. I come around, press out, and then come back in. Another thing, when you're doing a side kick, your foot toe should be down so that you're pushing with the heel. So this is a heel focused kick. So we're here, come around, kick. That wasn't very well controlled. So around, kick. Penny, you're gonna have to move, sweetheart. Come on. You're right there where I'm at. Thank you. Good girl. Having to go. Okay, honey, you're right by my feet. So around and we press. Hardest part is getting the back foot, or the what's now the front foot, and then the back foot after you've turned around in the right position. Okay, I'm going to switch to the other side. It is very nice on those hips, so it's definitely warming up the hips. So if you're trying any kind of flexibility around this, after I do a few more on this side to get myself symmetrically warmed up, I'll show a few stretches that I suspect would actually help. So we're here, come around, and press. And then come back. Man, oh man. Get my feet stuck on this. Of course, this is also my weaker side. So come up, around, heel approximately pointing in the right direction, back heel. So tightness here. For me, the tightness is certainly here, but also inside. So a couple of stretches that would definitely help with this. First of all, you've seen me do this a bunch. I'm not going to do this for very long, but the first one I would go for is blaster. So starting at tabletop, swing the foot around, back leg goes back, 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 and then hold like this for 5 minutes. I'm going to have my sternum going straight down. And I cannot put my knee on this stone. There we go. I got it. Okay, that's good. So hold it, for example. For any kind of hip stretching, you want to get up to a longer hold, say 5 minutes. So this is one side. I'm going to be stretching the back of the front leg and the front of the back leg, or the quads on the back, hammies on the front. Okay, so that's one thing. Now, since I didn't do that stretch, I really don't need to do that. But again, it's asymmetrical, so there's two sides to that stretch. Okay, so this is going to be generally a really good exercise for that. Now, another one is frog pose. So in frog pose, this is opening up the inside. Again, I'm on stone. I'm not going to really do this, but even there, I can kind of feel it. So first of all, my legs are apart. My knees are sliding out. My feet are perpendicular or straight back. Hold it like this. You might use bricks to open yourself up a little bit. But that's a good stretch, and I'll show that from the side. Okay, so notice my knees are spread wide. My feet are not together. My feet are like so. And then hold. All right there, even though I'm not doing much, I'm feeling that exactly where I need to feel it for the side kick. So those two stretches are going to be good for side kick. And then another good thing to work up to is a squat. So I'm going to get a pillow real quick. A couple things you can do to support yourself in squats. Thing one, use a pillow for your heels to give yourself just a little bit of heel lift. And if you do that, then you might find that you can go further down. And I can use penny, right? So this is an example of something you might do. So my heels being up just a touch is all I need to be able to comfortably hold this. Now, I didn't start being able to do squats. I mean, if I go back 2 years, my squats were down to here. So this is one of those things where you hold it, and the longer you hold it, eventually you're going to relax the back of your legs. So squatting is really good in general. It's also functional movement. So you should work up to a squat because it's a functional movement. I mean, for example, I can maybe spread my legs a little bit wider, and I can come down here, and I can sit comfortably-ish. But if I have just the smallest amount of heel lift, like for example, I'm on a hill, just that little amount of heel lift is amazing. Another good option is you put a pillow under your bum, because we're trying to hold this pose for a long time and get these muscles used to being in full range of motion all the way closed. Now, along these lines, something that helps with squatting is a lightning bolt or hero pose. So, hero pose, knees together. If you're not going all the way down to your bum, your feet can be together. So this might be your hero pose right now. You might have a pillow. For example, let's say I'm not very flexible. I might take a big old pillow and do something like this. This is going to stretch the top of your legs. It's also going to allow you to get into a squat over time better. Now, over time, you remove the pillows, and you eventually get onto your knees. Great. Now that you're on your knees, I'm going to show this from behind. It's a bit weird to do behind, but it's going to be easier to see. Knees together, feet apart. Then I'm going to slowly sit back, and I tell you, this is going to hurt the top of my feet. This is actually painful. I'm going to do this just to give myself a little bit of support on the top of my feet. All right, so then I'm going to come back, and over time, my bum, which is currently not touching the ground, will eventually get to the ground. Again, you want to hold this for 5 minutes. This is good enough. You do not need to go any further down. But if you happen to get your bum fully on the ground, which mine is not quite there yet, then you might lean back. But leaning back, completely not necessary. So this is taking my knees into full flexion. So my knees are pretty much in full flexion here. When I spread my feet, I'm even getting a little bit more. And again, I should have had a pad out here for doing this. Here we go. So the 3 poses you might start looking into are hero or lightning bolt. I really like this one. Squatting, and hero will help with squatting. Again, blaster. This is one of my favorite poses. And when I started blaster, I couldn't go down nearly this far. When I started blaster, I had a pile of pillows. And for example, I would do something like this. And I would rest on it because my emphasis is stretching here. If my arms aren't strong enough to hold myself, then don't do it. Now, over time, your arms will get stronger. You'll be able to do it. But this is a perfectly good version of blaster. I'm getting a stretch here. I'm getting a nice stretch. And it doesn't feel like a strong stretch. But if I hold it for 5 minutes, I guarantee you it's going to be a great stretch. So those are some poses you might consider if you want to work on your side kick a little bit. trying to think. Another good one is butterfly. And for butterfly, you might want to have your bum a little bit off the ground. So I'll go ahead and use this as a pillow for now. Okay, so we do this pose in yoga. This is for a different intention than yoga. So I'm going to have my feet pretty far apart. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's almost 5. It's a little bit further than I want. I'm going to come back to maybe 4, 3.5, 4 fists. 1, 2, 3, 4 is good. And then just lean forward. And slowly over time, you're going to open this area up. This will also help your squats. So, butterfly, lightning bolt, squat, blaster. Those are all going to be good poses for working on side quick kick. And, you know, with blaster, you can do variations like a twisted blaster. That feels really nice. I just got a nice little articulation in my spine. I'm feeling a nice stretch here, which I was feeling a lot of the side kick right here. So getting flexibility on the outside of your leg is really useful. I felt that enough that I'm going to do that symmetrically. That's another thing. When you have asymmetrical poses, really consider symmetrical. A good idea here would be to put a brick right here because that would allow me to raise up a little bit. And notice this is a resting pose of a variety. So for example, if I'm in yoga, I might do a warrior one, but I might do a modified warrior one. And then I might do a twisted modified warrior one. I don't remember the names of these poses. These are all good poses, but notice I'm having to use a lot of strength and balance to hold this. So that's why when I'm doing these poses for flexibility, I'm going to put it into a relaxing mode and pretty much get the same thing. So that's my first thoughts on the side kick challenge and how you might improve the side kick. Another thing is static hold. So for example, this is going to be odd. I'm going to use the bird bath over here. So one of the things you want to be able to do is hold your hip up. Now, this isn't going to be very comfortable, but notice I can do something like the following. Notice my heel is turned in, and then try to straighten your body up. I'm feeling it right where I need to feel it in terms of where I'm tight for doing a side kick. And then just hold this on both sides. So those are all some ideas you might consider for improving your side kicks. One last thing, and I think this is just really good for both your back and the back of your legs, is ragdoll. So ragdoll, feet hip width apart, bend your knees, chest here, bend over, and slowly over time straighten your legs and just hover. Hello, Penny. Yes, I love you. You're a good girl. So anyway, I'd be curious if you try some of these things. Does it help? I can tell you when I'm doing that kind of hip work after 5 minutes, I'm almost 60. I notice it. It hurts, and it's a good kind of hurt. It's discomfort. It's not actual like damage. But make sure you distinguish between acute pain and area pain. So if I can say I have pain right there, or specifically for my knee, on my left knee, if I feel it specifically right here, I've got a spot, I have to back off. So if you're feeling a spot, pull back. If you're feeling an area, like when my knee is on the ground, like this, I feel pressure on either kneecap, whichever kneecap's on the ground. Pressure pain is probably okay, but monitor your pain. Remember, you're in these poses for minutes, so you don't want it to feel too strong from the beginning. You want to feel a good stretch, and if you watch any of my videos, you'll notice I slowly adjust over time. So for hero pose, I normally start here with the pillow, and then, you know, maybe a minute in, I'll take out the pillow, and then eventually I'll go further and further down. So, hope that helps. Let me know if any of those things work for you. And again, just a couple of things. You want to hold for time. So one of the principles is passive resistance or tension over time. That time is 2 minutes to 5 minutes. 2 minutes, you're working on your sympathetic nervous system slash your nervous system, which you need to do to counteract the reflex response. 5 minutes, much beyond 5 minutes, probably law of diminishing returns. Probably better to switch to a different pose or a different side than try to eke out more stretch at that moment in that stretch. The only exception I have for that is when I'm doing, for example, splits. I'll hold the splits for 10, 15, 20 minutes just because it takes me 5 minutes to warm up to the point where I'm actually making a lot of progress. Let me know if any of these things work for you. Have a good afternoon. Bye.